I was interested in this story about Peter Dinklage, who is a very amazing actor. He was Tyrion Lannister in Game of Thrones.
Ooh, I liked him. He was my favorite Game of Thrones guy.
Yeah, he was truly stellar and a fun character to follow throughout the series.
Well, he wasn't a midget, right? He was.
Yeah, Peter Dinklage is a dwarf.
Oh, he was the midget. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I liked him. I liked his dad the best, though. I thought he was my kind of guy, the father.
Tywin.
I am the king.
Any man who must say, I am the king, is no true king.
So if you were in Game of Thrones, which house would you be in? Do you see yourself as a Lannister, which would be the Tywin and Tyrion?
I like Mr. Lannister, for sure.
Okay.
They were ruthless bastards like I am still.
Okay.
What was the house with Jon
Stark?
The Starks. Yeah, they were the good people, right?
Yeah, a little bit too Dudley Do Right to succeed at times.
Yeah. I'm a Lannister.
Okay. You heard it here first, people. Well, he was on a podcast with Mark Maron. Mark Maron is kind of a SJW comedian, but immensely popular. And he expressed his kind of reservations about this new Snow White film, which we discussed in a previous video called Woke Side Story. You know, the woman who played Maria is going to be the new Snow White. And so I'm just going to play some audio from that podcast.
There's a lot of hypocrisy going on, I got to say, from being somebody who's a little bit unique, front row seat to some...
Really? Like what? Like what do you see?
Well, it's really progressive to cast literally no offense to anything, but I was a little taken back by the they're very proud to cast a Latino actress as Snow White.
Yeah.
But you're still telling the story of Snow White.
Yeah.
Seven Dwarves.
Sure.
So, take a step back and look at what you're doing there.
Yeah.
I know. That makes no sense to me.
But
You're progressive in one way, but you're still making that backward story of seven dwarves living in a cave. What the are you doing, man? Have I done nothing to advance the cause from my soapbox? I guess I'm not loud enough. I don't know what studio that is, but they were so proud of that, and all love and respect to the actress and to the people who thought they were doing the right thing. But I'm just like, what are you doing?
So you can kind of hear in Dinklage's voice that he's upset that Disney is so happy to say that they have cast a Latina as Snow White, but they will make a movie with dwarves, which he finds to be a demeaning stereotype to the little people community, to people who are vertically challenged, people with any kind of aspect of their medical history that has led to them to be shorter than the standard population. And I'm kind of torn because I think he is 100% right in the notion that, yeah, Disney is so happy to parade this and that, but they won't really do anything. They like to pretend they're allies, but then they will do very creepy things like remove black actors from movie posters for the Chinese audience and stuff like that. But when I hear the word dwarf, like Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, I don't think of people with dwarfism. I think of fantasy dwarves like Lord of the Rings and fairy tales. So curious to get your thoughts on this.
Well, Stu, first of all, this lady who's supposed to be the first Latino Snow White, she's not really Latino. She's Polish, right?
Polish and Colombian, yeah.
Yeah. So there. Stu, I think people are too sensitive. There have always been dwarfs and midgets, is what it is, and we'll probably always have them. So I wish we lived in a world where we weren't so terribly sensitive about all this. I mean, you wouldn't have the Munchkins in The Wizard of Oz unless they were Munchkins, right? I mean, so Stu, that's how I feel about it. You're just too sensitive. You mentioned that you think of dwarfs as kind of having a mystical quality. Yeah, I think in movies they've been portrayed that way. And isn't that a good thing? I mean, would you rather, it's kind of like Indians are often portrayed as the noble savage. That's the way culture has described these folks. So, let's let it happen without complaining about everything.
Yeah, I just find it interesting that he's so hung up on not being able to differentiate dwarf as a kind of aspect of mythology and folklore versus dwarf, the actual population of people who might have something wrong with their human growth hormone gland or something like that.
Dude, look at this. If he weren't a dwarf, he likely wouldn't have a career. I mean, his career is because he's a dwarf.
Yeah.
I mean, he wouldn't have been cast in Game of Thrones if he was, 6'2", 215 pounds, strapping hoss like I am.
Yeah, I mean, they would have accused the movie studio of not casting someone with dwarfism in the role if they had shrunk him down. But I like the language here from what Disney said. Disney said the film, which is still years from release, this is the new Snow White, will have cultural consultants, just like its live action remakes of Aladdin and Mulan did. The studio also claims it has been working on reimagining the dwarf characters since its earliest production stages.
Sounds to me like another woke film that's going to bomb at the box office.
Yeah. I find it very interesting. And, the dwarfs, from my point of view, were never depicted as being a weird stereotype in the fairy tale. They saved Snow White. They brought her in. They hustled her into making her do all the work in the house, so they were in the mines all day.
The dwarfs were the good people.
Yeah, I don't see what the issue is and how it's backwards. I think they're clearly supposed to be magical little beings that are good little citizens to the magical world. There's nothing weird about it. So,
Have you ever been to midget wrestling before?
I have not, but Jackass had the member of the Jackass crew called Wee Man, who was a man who had some sort of dwarfism, and he was always one of the funniest cast members.
Okay.
I'm Wee Man, and this is a yoga ball. Oh, yeah!